How do you hold your team accountable without micromanaging them? One of the areas of leadership I work on with my clients is around self-leadership, and also how you show up for your team. Now, one of the key attributes to performance and productivity is accountability. But accountability isn't a flat structure, isn't one size fits all. It's about understanding, depending on the task at hand, depending on the person you are holding accountable, and that could be someone that you manage up or you manage down. You know, a lot of senior middle leaders, they have people they're answerable to, but they have a team. But is it possible to hold someone accountable who's above you? Absolutely, with the right conversation, the right context. And then that filters down in terms of how you hold your team accountable, but you've got to set the context. But in this video, I'm going to explain the 4 different ways to hold a team accountable. And once you understand the 4 different ways, it will help you create a much more empowered culture, or productive culture, and a culture that doesn't feel they're micromanaged. So let's reframe what accountability is. Accountability isn't checking up on somebody if they've done something. It's about empowering them to achieve their potential. It's about creating an environment so they can be at their best. And when done the right way, it's making sure that someone believes that you've got their back. You've got their back, whatever, but you're going to hold them to a higher standard than they hold themselves, because you create an accountability culture that's really empowered. You don't only progress, your team progresses, but you get things done over the line much more quickly. So there are 4 distinct ways to hold someone accountable: task orientated, goal orientated, potential orientated, and genius orientated. I'm going to go for all 4. So let's look at number 1, task focused accountability. This is the lowest sort of form, the most basic granular form of holding someone accountable. It's basically focusing on a specific task and then checking in they've done that. So between you and your team, you might say, let's get this video recorded, for example, and you set the task, which is the video recorded, and you set a timeline by Thursday, and that's it. And they go away and do it, and you're holding someone accountable on a very basic level on the task at hand and nothing else. There's no strategy, there's no big thinking, there's no overcomplication. It's just very clear instruction about this is a task that needs to be done. You set an agreement between you and the said party about when you're going to do it, and you get the task done, and then you just deliver, and that's it. And it's very simple, it's very focused. And a lot of people stay at this level. They use this way of holding someone accountable at all sorts of levels. Now, when you're dealing with senior leaders, when you're dealing with people who are dealing with complicated tasks, and there's multiple layers to getting something over the line, this doesn't work. And this is where the other ways of holding someone accountable come into focus. So task orientated is very simple, one-dimensional, one task, one deadline, one delivery, job done. And this is really great for short-term focus, getting small things done over the line. When I say small, I mean low-level activities, like things that are easily done. It doesn't mean that take much. There's not much over-strategic thinking around it. It's very simple, very understandable, and very tangible. The great way to use this approach is when someone's really overwhelmed, when there's so much on their plate, and you're trying to get them focused. All right, let's pick one thing, and one simple ask is to get it done, and by what time. And it's really great to overcome overwhelm and manage your capacity and get some things done. The next level of accountability is goal-focused accountability. So this is a little bit more complicated than task focus, but this focuses on the overall goal at hand and how it sits in the context of what needs to be achieved. And this is about doing things right. It's vision-led. It's not so much on the task at hand, but the overall goal. So let's take a point. Let's say we've got an overall goal to create a marketing strategy. So the goal is to create a marketing strategy. And now there may be individual tasks in there, but as a team, you might say we have a marketing strategy for launching one product, and you might have several layers: creating the content, scheduling the content, call to actions, different incentives. You've got all these things as part of the overall goal. So the goal, the way you hold someone accountable, the goal of this is to create the marketing plan, and within that there's tasks. So this is really good for a bit more strategic thinking, a bit more sort of founder-based, a bit more sort of visionary, and it's about saying this is it, and then you allow the individuals to come up with the task. So you're focused around holding the team accountable around the overall goal, and then you as a sort of a senior higher leader is allowing the sort of the managers of the team or the team leaders to come up with individual tasks. So your role here is not to hold people accountable on the tasks, but the next stage up, the goal itself, and for them to get involved in the nitty-gritty. Where you fall into micromanaging is you as a senior leader or a higher leader, is you don't want to get too consumed with the tasks. You want to empower the team to come up with the tasks. You set them the goal, You set them when you want the goal to be delivered. Let them get on with the how and the individual task at hand, and you not to get into nitty gritty. Now, you might have some wisdom around the nitty gritty because you've had experience, but the key is this, it's about teaching them to fish and not fishing for them. And there's a bit of push and pull. It's about knowing when to give them the goal, the task of the goal, and holding them accountable to the goal and not the task at hand. And this is trial and error, but the more you practice it, the easier it will get. A great way to use this is like to do not like a daily check-in, but maybe a weekly check-in. So you 1 week you sort of, okay, this is the goal for this week. You let them get on with it, and then you check in and see where they're at, where they are with those goals. And you'll quickly learn whether they feel empowered by setting that big goal and they trust themselves to set the tasks. And very quickly, if they don't set the task, it's a different conversation to have. But the key here is to focus on the goal and not the individual tasks. The third level of accountability is potential focus accountability. Now, this is an even higher level of accountability. This is where you trust the individual, they know what to do. You trust that they have the talent and the tasks, the talent and the skill set to know what to do. You also trust the individual that there's a higher level of capability. So what you're holding them accountable is on their potential. Are they living the life? Are they operating at a level that meets their potential? So you might say to them, there's a marketing strategy you might think, but the potential is the product you're launching, the impact on the market. What potential would you acquire when this product is out there? So what do you need to do? I need to create a marketing campaign. I need to get the operations involved. I need to get the sales involved. So there's many different entities, but your conversation is a higher conversation around their potential, around the potential of the product, around the potential of the launch. So the conversation is higher, and you trust them to come up with the goals and the tasks needed. And this is really good for if you're in a high position, if you've got several layers of leadership below you, and you're thinking, how do I empower those several leaders, those several levels? It's to focus on the potential they can meet, and the potential they might not see in them. And it's up to you as a leader to focus on that potential. This is really great for high performers, really great for high performers who've got all the attributes, but they've got suffer from self-doubt. And it's about saying, I've got your back, but I trust you, go and do it. And then if you want me to sense check the goals and the tasks, you can sense check them, but you don't want to create the tasks. You don't want to create those goals or tasks for them. You just want to sense check they're on the right path and give them little nudges as they go along. The key to this level of accountability is you're holding the bar high for them. You're holding the bar high and say, I trust you, I've got your back, off you go. And when you hold that bar high, it forces them to push themselves out of the comfort zone. It forces them to step beyond a way of being that they even believe possible, but they've got the safety net of knowing that you've got their back and you're not going to go into micromanage them or do the things for them. The fourth level of accountability is genius focused accountability. This is all about perspective. It's understanding different perspectives and tapping into someone's genius. They know the tasks, they know the goals, they even know the potential they have, but it's a higher conversation. This is about helping them refine their thinking. It's helping them refine a different way of looking at the world, looking at the task at hand. It's a very high level strategy. And this is sort of the coaching I do with a lot of my clients. It's more about, they know their stuff, but sometimes need a different clearing. They need a different perspective. It's looking at things like a 360 angle. It's looking at it from an inside out. It's looking at an angle they've never seen before. That allows all of a sudden different things to pop in their head. Wow, I never thought about it that way. And then they see a different way, they see a different path. And you're just there to say, yeah, I see that, off you go. And then they work with their higher team, and their role is to tap into the potential of their team. But your role with them is the genius, tapping into the third level of thinking that's beyond the surface, beyond the consciousness, that taps into their unconsciousness. This level of accountability is great for creative. It's great for people who feel they don't want to be controlled. It's great for people who feel like, I've got my juices, but I just need someone to tap into it now and again that allows me to fly. And when you understand that genius level of accountability is very different to task level, you can tap into the different skill sets of your team by understanding these different nuances. So bringing it all together, remember, the best leaders do not treat everyone the same. They treat everyone differently. They ask great questions. They understand the different nuances that people are. Context is also key, because different stages of their life, different stages of the project has an impact on what kind of level of accountability you hold them at, and also them to you. Because again, as a senior leader, someone who owns a business, if you're sort of a business owner, entrepreneur, or a C-suite executive, there's not much you haven't seen. But how are you going to be held accountable to a different level? It's by understanding that you hold different people accountable at different levels, and they will then trust you and respect you for that. You see, why accountability is great, most underperformance is not to do with laziness, it's to do with misalignment. They're not sure what success looks like, and they're not clear about whether you and them see success in the same way, especially in terms of what good looks like. Some people need clarity, some people need belief, some people need the space to think. And once you understand what each person needs in your team, it helps you become a better leader, and it helps you hold them accountable at the right stages. All 4 levels of accountability matter, but the key to great leadership is knowing which one to apply to who at what stage. If you get that right, it will enhance your leadership to another level. So the key now is to look at your team, explain to your team the different levels of accountability, sit down with them and go through the different stages, and then say to them, based on the project, based on where they're at, which level of accountability do they feel comfortable in? And it's going to be different for different people, but the key is evolution. It is at one stage for one person, task or goal oriented is great. And then as they evolve, as a project evolves, as you evolve, you might tap into potential and genius level of accountability. I hope this video has helped. Hope this video gives you a different perspective on how accountability can be employed within an organization, and ensuring that you don't micromanage, but you empower individuals and teams to be the best possible version of themselves. I hope this helps. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.